Hi everyone, in today's video I'll be talking about the latest knight that was just released in the game, Leo Ikki. I'll be going through his skills, his clothes, his constellation, etc. and give a bit of opinion of how I think this character is and should you invest in him. In the second half of this video I will also be going through his goddess trial, just showing you a clip of how to clear every single one of his stages, etc. So without further ado, let's go straight into his skills. I'm going to start off with his signature skill, which is Nirvana. So basically, this says when he dies, he is going to revive himself with 80% HP and also 8,000 custom. And on top of that, he's going to stun off the enemies. So this is quite interesting, so that it shows that even though he is a fire skill knight, he can actually be placed on the front row because you don't really have to worry too much about him being killed off. Even if he's killed off, he has this bit of revival, which is similar to kind of Agati. Agati get a 5 second immunity, but Leo Ikki gets stunning of all of the enemy for 2 seconds, which is not quite as good 5 second immunity, but it certainly works to some extent. Later on, when you level up his constellation, he's able to do the 3 time as well. So he can definitely be put on the front line and act as kind of like a semi protector. Second skill I'll be talking about will be one thing you mentioned is with Nirvana. When he revives, he also get the 8,000 customer. 8,000 customer a lot of time is going to let you fire off his ultimate straight away. And his ultimate is pretty good because his ultimate does AoE damage to all of the enemies. The base is not too high, it's only 180% of the attack. However, what you would also see is that he gets extra damage based on how much HP the current enemies have. So the more HP they currently have, you're going to inflict more damage as well. It may be a problem when you are fighting against people who are already low on HP and then you kind of realize Leo Ikki doesn't do enough to kind of kill them off. But you don't have to worry too much about that because he does have another skill which kind of compensates for this, which is his Burning Will. So what this does is for every single one of his normal attack, he inflicts something called Phoenix Flame. And that basically deals damage equal to how much HP the enemy has already lost, and the more HP they have already lost, the more damage this is going to deal. So this basically quite complements the first ultimate quite well because the ultimate basically says the more HP the enemy have, then you're going to do more damage. However, even if the enemy have low HP, you are still able to do quite a lot of damage through this Phoenix Flame of his last skill. So no matter kind of what range is your enemy's HP, this kind of allows your Leo Ikki to have do almost like a substantial amount of damage regardless of what HP range the enemy may be. So that's also quite nice. And then his other skill is a control skill, which is Phoenix Phantom Demon Punch. This is also quite cool. I was thinking of as a slight different version of Sea Dragon Cannon's control because this is also controlling the enemy in a corresponding position. So you may have to be a bit tactical in terms of how you place him in your formation. Um, but rather than Sea Dragon Cannon, where you kind of control the enemy at the start of the battle, this is a looping skill. So that does mean you can activate more times. However, it's a slightly weaker version in the sense that he terrified the enemy, making it not able to attack, but also you kind of gaining the Cosmo that that person would have been losing, which is 500 Cosmo for up to 4 seconds when it's at the highest level. So, think about it over those 4 seconds, the enemy be losing 2000 Cosmo, whereas you will be gaining 2000 Cosmo. So that's quite nice. You normally want to position that against the enemy's DPS to prevent them from releasing their ultimate too quickly, and also this allow you to release your ultimate a bit quicker. So those are all quite nice. Now if we look at his clothes, the first two basically means that when you're controlling the enemy, you also get a bit of attack. Now, as I said, you normally want to position against the enemy's DPS, so you actually, in a way, applying a debuff on their strongest, most damage dealing knight, which is nice. So you're kind of protecting yourself in a sense, and also you're absorbing more of the attack. And normally DPS will have high attack, so it's quite nice that you're able to steal a bit of attack from them. This at level 20 is also really interesting. But basically, there's a bit of a typo in the English translation, but normally what it says is that any burning damage done on the field will be transformed into a shield. It doesn't have to be done against him. You can check the French version or any other language, which all shows, it's on the whole field. So it's just a typo in the English version. But this basically means there's a bit of synergy of Leo Ikki with other knights who are able to inflict burning damage. And the most obvious choice would be Babel, and there's also Sagittarius who is able to have like a burning, flaming shot, arrow shot, that kind of thing. So it does go in a bit of synergy in case you want to build your Leo Ikki in a particular way. And then the last one is also really cool. But basically, if you remember his last skill, Burning Will, that inflicts flame only when you are doing a normal attack. However, at level 30 with his close, you're also able to inflict this with any of your other skills, including your ultimate. So what you can actually see in a quite cool trick or kind of combo is that, let's say your Leo Ikki dies off, what happens is you're going to revive yourself with 8,000 Cosmo, and also that kind of make you ready to fight off HP. Imagine you're in a story where the enemy is a lot higher level than you, so you get wiped out quite quickly. Enemies that have a lot of HP. Now, because you revive yourself, you're stunning off the enemies. This kind of gives you almost like the equivalent of 2-second immunity for you to fire off your ultimate. Now, when you fire off your ultimate, because the enemy still have a lot of HP because it's start of the battle, your ultimate is going to do massive amount of damage because it scales according to how much HP they have. And at level 30 close, what happens is you will also be inflicting them with the Phoenix Flame. So now with your ultimate dealing loads of damage to all of those enemies because they have high HP, they will no longer have high HP anymore because you just, unleash your ultimate against them. So now imagine they're only at half health, etc. So they have already lost 50% of their HP. Now you are inflicting them with a Phoenix Flame, so you'll be then dealing 10% of how much they lost. So imagine they lost 50%, then you'll be dealing 5% extra of their HP damage for 6 seconds. So actually, after those 6 seconds, you'll be wiping another 30%. So it's actually making him really powerful in terms of DPS. So it's definitely something to be aware of this kind of combo, just not through him and any other knight, but just through his own skill kit, which kind of have a bit of a synergy with each other by nature. Um, Lastly, constellation also super important. The first 3 star points allows you to have Nirvana again, so you're able to revive yourself twice in battle. Very good. And then not only that, at the highest level, every single time you're also increasing your attack. So remember, as when you revive, you get 8,000 customer. That allows you to fire off HP. So and now when you revive, you also get an extra attack permanently. So just imagine, I already said, with level 30 of his close, he can deal massive amount of damage through this kind of loop of his own skill kit. On top of that, now you also get 50% of HP, and you're able to do this loop twice because you can revive twice. That is massive. So, very, very strong character as a whole. Now, in terms of whether you should pull him in this banner or not, it's slightly tricky actually. I myself still haven't decided. I'm a bit on the fence. I can see reasons to do it either way. But my source is, as I mentioned, he's a very good character. He is able to do a lot of things. He's able to revive, which basically makes him a bit of a protector in some sense. He's able to control, almost like Sea Dragon Cannon. He's able to do a lot of DPS damage. So he's a very fungible and very adaptable character. So I definitely don't think there's any you wouldn't be making a wrong choice if you pull on him because you can almost slot him in into any kind of formation and he will be able to help that team for sure. But at the same time, that also comes with a bit of sort, which is what role exactly do you want him to fulfill? Because if you want him to fulfill like a protector role, then you can just get Agati. If you want control, you can get Seedra Cannon. If you want DPS, you can get Sanctuary Seiya, right? Do you really need one character to fulfill all 3 roles at once? It just makes it slightly difficult in terms of team building. And that's why, even though I say he's a very good character, when it comes down to the natural team building part of any formation, I don't think I'll be missing out at all if I don't have this character because I can definitely replace him with someone else who are able to serve uh, a particular purpose that I want that person to serve as well. So, he's good, but I don't feel like I'll be missing out in terms of anything if I don't have him either, which is why I'm still debating on whether he is someone worth pulling. Some people also consider the resource. In terms of both, how much it costs to get him to full power. You need full constellation and full armor, so that's quite expensive. But also in terms of the fact that you have to spend your arrows to pull him on the spanner, whereas you could be saving your arrows for the next upcoming character who is very likely to be Surplus Shion. Now, Surplus Shion is a very good character. Um, and I kind of, out of the two, I would kind of agree it's probably better to conserve and save up your arrows for the next character surplus shown instead of Leo Ikki. So I kind of agree on that point. However, at the same time, surplus shield you can actually buy him in the Guild Wars shop in the future, whereas Leo Ikki you can't really buy him by himself anywhere else. So you kind of have to rely on pulling him from a banner or through certain kind of very very special events. Whereas Surplus Shield, you can almost guarantee a copy every 3 weeks through the Battle of Gods, etc. So even though I can see the argument of saving up resources to not pull for him, and save it for Surplus Shield. I also think in longer term he is a lot more rare for you to build up. So yeah, it may actually be worth it from a long term perspective to get as many copy of Leo Ikki as possible now rather than later. Honestly, I don't know. I can see argument both ways. I think what I would personally suggest, and I may do myself, is to only get one or two copies of him, because I can see a reason of building him for a very budget purpose, just for the time being in the interim. Because if you think about one of his core skill, Nirvana, you can able to do that with only a single copy. You don't really need Leo Ikki to be very high level. You can use him almost a weaker version of Akati. Sure, he may not be able to do as much damage and won't be able to revive himself twice because he will be at too low star level. But at least he's still able to serve certain kind of purpose when you, for example, when you have to fill in multiple teams and you already have used your Agati in one team and you need someone else in the second team, then Leo Ikki could at least still fulfill that role. So yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on Leo Ikki and whether you should be investing in him now. But do let me know what you thought in the comment section. I'll be really keen to hear whether you guys think it's worth getting him because I can definitely see the arguments both ways here. All right, now let's move on to the second part of the video where I'll be showing the clips of the Goddess trials.